Yes. A very good evening to one and all. We welcome you all for today's webinar, which is Secrets to Effective Communication. And let me introduce to you the resource person of the day, Mrs. Aarti Khilan, resource person at SNTTC, and ma'am is also principal of a school based in Bhopal. So let us, start the session, and the stage is all yours, Aarti.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Let me welcome everyone. Good evening, everyone. I welcome you all because I understand that you are the lifelong learners, always ready to learn. So today's our topic is secrets to effective communication. Through effective communication, only barriers can turn into bridges. I hope the picture says all. This is a quote by David Anderson, and he highlights the power of communication in fostering understanding. Let me start with a myth. The first myth is that one who knows good English is a good communicator. But no, good communication does not mean knowing the English language. This is a misconception that if I have learned English, I have also learned to communicate. Sorry, English is a language and communication is a skill. Two very different things. Even after learning good English, your communication can be pathetic at times. I hope many will agree with me if sometimes in front of the huge audience, when the mic is in our hand, and how we feel. So here we are to learn. Next slide. So, dear audience, let us be interactive. What do you understand by this? It's time to share our thoughts. Come on. I want everybody to participate. Please switch on your mics, write it in the chat, whatever. But everyone needs to participate. That's how we as teachers, we want our classes to be interactive even. So please, let's all participate.
Good evening, ma'am. Good
Good
evening.
evening.
Ma'am,
Yes.
I am
What do you
able to
understand by
understand,
this?
yes, ma'am. Ma'am, we have to keep learning, even if it is a small part or a small skill, but then if it is adding to our knowledge, and day by day, if we keep learning, and within a year, we will be having a good knowledge. So I think it shows that we have to keep
Perfect.
learning.
Yeah, very good. Perseverance lead to
Ma'am.
success. Rosalind.
Good
Okay.
evening.
Anybody else? Ria.
Yeah, good evening,
Every
ma'am.
drop counts. Constant effort. Very good.
Yes, what I thought was that if I increase my skill by a drop every day, then I can enable to develop after a year, I can enable to develop many more skills. Like within
Perfect.
in my I can inculcate that in my students.
Yes. Perfect. More answers, please.
इसमें क्या आंसर है सोना बताना
So, dear audience, communication is a skill. And if it is very little today and we have decided to upgrade it, continuous practice, yes, Amy Thomas, continuous practice will lead to success. And by small endeavors, 1 year later, the amount of our skill will be this much. So it is an art. Once again, communication is an art that can be learned, that can be developed. Only we need to know how it has to. And that is what I'm here for. Next slide, please. And right now, before you start, it seems this much. So during the task, it will be this much. And after 1 hour, where you will be, that's what you will understand after seeing this picture. I hope I'm clear on this. So let's start with it. Here's a small video. Next. Please, somebody will summarize it. No sound, it seems.
Ma'am, have you shared the sound while sharing the video?
I suppose there is
I
no sound for the video, if
There's
I'm not wrong.
no problem. In that case, we have dialogues. Everybody can read the dialogue. Teacher's
Let-
voice is no less than sound, you know, no less than music. We all are here. So once again, in the forest, I think animals are discussing among themselves. They met one day. Yeah. I want you people to summarize it. That is what, I mean, let it be without music, without sound. So, right communication at the right place, at the right moment makes a difference. Come on, who will summarize it? Just few lines, very fast. What does it convey? Come on, teachers. I have so many teachers with me. Yeah. Anybody who has understood the story? It's simply
Good
said
evening,
that we.
ma'am.
Yeah, please.
Ma'am, I could understand from the video that how important the communication is. The first two animals had just inquired from the bear that is my name there on the list, and they were eaten. But the last one had requested the bear to remove his name. Can you take my name off? And then his name was taken off. So this shows that how important it is to communicate and the
To
way you communicate with
communicate.
others.
Perfect. It is, communication work for those who work at it. Yes. So you have to understand. Yes, the narrative should demonstrate. Yes, Prachi, perfect. So, you have to work for it. You have to convey whatever is there in your mind. Sometimes you know what to express, but you don't know how to express it. That idea is of no importance if you are not able to express the idea. Remember, you have to make an effort. There is no key, no guide, no shortcut through which you can achieve it. It is only gonna take your efforts, the practice. And here we come for the action plan for the day. And if you have some suggestions, please do it. Please tell it so that it can be added. We will define communication. We will talk about the elements of communication. What are the factors which affect communication? Yes, there are a few barriers. What are those 7 C's of communication? How body language is important? What are those 4 S of communication? And how to overcome those barriers in communication? Next. So basically, define communication. What are the elements of communication? Okay, one of you. What do you understand by communication? I have a very smart lot, interactive one. Come on. What do you understand by communication?
Good evening, ma'am. It is a two-way process. One is a receiver, one is like sender.
Perfect. Very good. Anybody else? A receiver and a sender is there. Then what do we have to receive and what do we have to send?
A message.
Ma'am, communication is the way how you deliver through a medium And that medium
Right.
should be such that everyone can understand. The receiver and the sender both can understand the medium or the language.
Yes,
If they do
sender,
not
receiver,
understand the language,
message, language, feedback. Perfect. What do you understand by this picture right now? What do you understand by the elements? What are those elements? Okay, yes. The language, the message should be understood. Imagine, think about the communication in your life. When you make a phone call, when you send a text message, or you like a post in the Facebook, what is the purpose of that activity? Have you ever felt confused by what someone is telling you or argued over a misunderstood mail? What do you think? Why confusion? Because it must not have been very effective. So what communication means to you, what successful communication look like to you, that is very, very important. It has to have a sender. There has to be a medium. The receiver who is receiving that message. Then what feedback goes back, how encoder and decoder looks like. That is what we are going to learn today, as these are the elements of communication. So the basic elements are the sender, the receiver, the message, the medium, and the feedback. So these are the elements of communication. Next. After the elements, yes, clear message. Here comes the medium of communication. Now, it can be face-to-face. Can you give me one example where we have face-to-face communication? I've already told it is going to be interactive. So please,
classroom,
if you want me to move ahead,
Interview,
classroom,
it is in the interview.
classroom,
Perfect. Then classrooms, yes, face-to-face. What else? There are so many. There are staff meetings going
even the
on.
face call,
Yes.
video call,
Oh.
yes.
Okay, face call, fine. Then classroom, yes. Interview, classroom meetings, yes, very good. What else? So it can be annual staff meetings, it can be video calls, it can be sales meeting, it can be social gatherings and colleagues when we are talking to one another, other professionals
ma'am.
meeting. Yes, PTMs. So these are all
Yes, thank you.
face-to-face communication. This is one medium. Now, what are face-off communication? Yes, family interactions. We speak to each other in the family. What are face-off communications? Come on. Face-off. What do you understand by this? Come on, just try it. What will? Okay, debate. Mail. Yes. Perfect, Prachi. Mail. WhatsApp chat. When we are interacting with each other, but we are not able to see each other. Perfect. What are formal communication? Okay, sending message. Perfect. SMS. What is formal communication? Give me examples of formal communication.
interview, interview,
Interview. Okay. Yes. Messages.
Some
Business
school app we
letters.
can send.
Okay.
Meetings,
Perfect.
official meetings.
Official meetings. In fact, formal communication can be business letters, it can be reports, it can be orders. So these are, where we try to sending resume to someone, we are sending mails. Perfect. These are formal communication. Okay. Now some examples of informal communication. Official letters, yes. Offer letters. Very good.
Conference
Okay. Some
meeting, ma'am.
examples of informal. Come again.
talking with friends,
Okay.
communicating
Talking
with
in a
friends
family.
or
Yes.
family. Yes.
WhatsApp when we are talking to each other, on the dining table when we are talking to each other, in the
Marketing.
staff room when we are talking with friends. Perfect. So these are all informal
At the market.
communication. The best example is communication at a dinner table. That is exactly non-formal, informal. Okay, next comes oral communication. I think many of the examples that we have taken, it can be formal, it can be informal, face to face. All these conversations are oral conversations. And what about written communications?
Letters.
When the students write something, it can be letter, it can be answer sheet.
Business letters, it can be, okay, exams, during exams when they write, text messages, blog posts, business letters, reports, proposals when we make, some contracts are there, some job descriptions are there, notices, messages. These are all examples of written communication. Okay. Visual
Newspaper.
communication.
Movies.
Okay. Through movie, they convey the messages. Okay. Anything else? Visual communication. Come on, there are many.
Advertisements.
Ma'am,
Signboard,
Multimedia.
animation,
PPT.
advertising. Perfect.
Signboard.
Some more.
PPTs.
Okay. Demonstrations. Have you heard about GIFs?
Advertisements.
Advertisements, screen recordings, videos, pie charts, infographics, data visualizations, slide text. These are all examples of in visual communication. Now, taking you to something very, very interesting, and I really want you people to introspect yourself. Okay? Come on. This is before that. Introspection is in the next slide here. Which type of communication will you use in your lifetime if you will use a lot of different ways? You know, if you have to communicate through telephones. Tell me, what type of communication is it?
Verbal.
Verbal, oral, yeah. Then face off. Give me all types.
Verbal, ma'am.
Yes. We are communicating, speaking to each other. Mobile phone is more or less the same. What about email? Okay,
Email
verbal
is
form.
Written
formal and
communication, ma'am.
formal and written.
Okay.
Gen,
What about mobile
generally
phone? Can
formal
it
is-
be? Okay.
Mobile phone
Can
can be visual also
okay.
for
Then-
video calls.
Mobile is formal and
Perfect.
informal, ma'am.
Both. Yes, it can be formal, informal. It can be oral. It can be verbal. Then at the same time, it can be face off. It can be face to face. Right? What about email? All types, mediums, tell me.
Written communication.
It can be written communication. Yes. It can be formal, informal again. Can it be? Okay.
Yes, it can be both formal and informal.
It can be both. Yes. Coming on to the next, the one I was saying that we will all introspect ourselves. There are 4 basic communication styles. These are styles of communication. You know, you must have heard people. I mean, there are a few people like, let me start with passive. You know, these are type of communicators who strive to avoid conflicts. They have been very humble. They use easygoing language, but you know, sometimes they find it difficulty to express what is there in their mind. So these are passive people. So you have to tell me what type of communicators are you. So these are passive type of communicator. There is another class that is passive aggressive communicators. They use techniques both for the name. So, you know, the name conveys passive as well as aggressive. They try to use humble tone, but inside from, you know, actually they may be masking, they may be hiding some aggressive sentiments. Then aggressive communicators are those who actually try to dominate the scene. Whenever discussions are going on, they will like to dominate the discussion. They speak louder than the other participants and try to prove themselves that they are always right. Now comes assertive communicators. They show confidence in whatever they say without monopolizing. Imagine, you know, listen to the word monopoly. No monopoly in the conversation. This is the most effective because it encourages cooperation. So as an assertive speaker, we consider the viewpoint of the others. Now, you know, passive aggressive people, they are subtle. They are actually indirect. They always try to be behind the scene. The passive aggressive, the aggressive people, let me come to aggressive first. They will always try to dominate. I know this. Everyone should be like me. This is my motto. This is my belief. And then the assertive, they have their own mottos and belief. They believe that if I am important, the other one is also important. So, you know, you don't always have to win. For you, I mean, the relationship is more important. For you, the other one, whatever they are thinking, their thought process is equally important. So they have a firm faith. If I have rights, so do others. So these are 4 different styles of communicators, in which passive aggressive is a mixture of both passive and aggressive. They show themselves to be passive, but they are actually aggressive. So, dear all,
Excuse me, ma'am. Excuse
Yeah.
me, ma'am. Passive aggressive people, they always put their pistol on somebody else's shoulder.
exactly. That's what I said. They show that they are humble, but they are not. They try to make others believe what they are thinking through others. So, what do you think? Which is the best style of communication?
The last one,
Definitely
assertive.
assertive one. Assertive one. And in the, yes, assertive. And in the next one, actually, if you can see, these different styles, they differ in their openness to the communication and respect towards the other. Good. It is assertive. Coming on to the next slide, we are going to chart it through different variables. There are 2 variables. Next slide. Yes. So, dear all, there are 2 variables. One is openness of communication, and second is respect towards others. If you can see the assertive one, the green one, it shows highly openness. You're open to the communication and you have respect for others. You have consideration for others. Coming on to passive, if you can see, yes, they have consideration for others, but they are low in discussion, in openness of communication. The third one, the red one, if you can see, passive aggressive, they have neither consideration nor they are open to the communication. And go on for aggressive one, they are low on consideration, but yes, they are ready to have an open discussion. So this is the perfect way to analyze yourself. Do you feel that you're open for communication? And do you respect other people's belief, other people's idea? And in that case, we should always try to be assertive. We should always try to give chance to others, to listen to the others, at the same time, convey our thoughts. That's the best way of communication. Have openness and have high consideration for others' ideas as well. Next. Now, sometimes there are barriers in communication. Can we play this? Yeah. Hey, does your dog bite? No, my dog doesn't bite. Ouch, and he got bitten. Didn't you say your dog doesn't bite? But who said this is my dog? So that's what a barrier in the communication is. So you need to convey actually what is there. Sometimes misunderstandings are there. So this is called a barrier in communication. I hope it is clear to all. So starting with some barriers, the first physical communication barrier is social distancing. Please, let us discuss. What do you understand by social distancing? How is social distancing a physical communication barriers? I hope we all have understood the social distancing so well. 2 years of pandemic were enough.
We remain away from people. We don't try to communicate with them. We stay within ourselves.
Actually, physical factors, there are certain factors, there are certain elements which inhibits the effective exchange. So there are certain workplaces where people are in the different. Please come again.
Interpersonal skills.
Okay, when we are not very close to each other. Okay.
Not physically present.
Not physically present. Deskless nature. You must have seen some people, insurance agents, bank people. They don't, those who are there in sales, they are never in the office. They're always away. So definitely communication barrier is there. Then anybody else? What else can be there as barriers? What do you understand by this multi-generation? What do you understand by this? Anybody? Try it. It is multi-generational workforce. Multi-generational workforce means even in our schools, you must have seen Generation Z, Gen Z, Millennials, Gen X, Baby Boomers, and there are some members of the silent generation. We are all working together. There are few those who have been born in 70s. There are few those who were born in 80s. Then there are few those who have just come right from the colleges. They have joined us. So many generation all working together. Definitely hierarchy is there. There is a generation gap. So that also brings barriers in communication. Yes, generation gap. So these are all barriers in communication. So this means a young graduate is working side by side with great grandparents. Here comes emotional communication barriers. Yes, multiple age groups. So, these emotional communication barrier means sometimes we don't trust people. We try to dominate others, leaders at times. Lack of bonding is there. Fear to speak. You're not able to speak in front of your seniors. Misunderstanding is there. So these are emotional communication barriers, which at times create problem. Okay, there is a next. Next slide. Yeah. There is an activity. Everyone will read it because if I'll read it, you will understand. So everyone will read it and one by one. These are 3 sentences. Women, then for sale, and then enraged cow. If you're going to do it, you will enjoy it. That's my promise to you. Who will explain the first one? Come on.
The first one I can try.
Yeah, please.
Here the use of comma is very important. Women without
Perfect.
her, man is nothing. Women without her, man is nothing. That means the first one is saying that women is how important the woman is. And the second one is saying the woman needs a man. Otherwise, she's nothing.
Exactly.
So,
So the
the
use of punctuation.
yes, use of
Yes. So
punctuation is
use of
very
punctuation. So
important.
imagine this is called language barriers. Women without
और भी कुछ
her,
पूछना हो तो पूछ लो
man
यार
is nothing. See the comma. That means man is nothing without women. Women without her, man is nothing. Just a change of comma after her. This comma has been put after man and entire meaning is changed.
हाँ
That
हाँ
is, women without man is nothing. Okay? This is one based on punctuation.
लाइन से
Come
करो
on, next one.
5 पहले कर ले 5 बाद में
No, sir, once again, that one only. Next sentence. Next sentence. For sale, come on. Antique desk suitable for lady with thick legs and arms. What do you understand by this? Okay, should I
There is
help?
no use of punctuation. So, it's suitable for lady with thick legs and large, right?
Yes,
So it's not clear.
yes. Instead of antique desk, it is suitable for lady. I mean, it is actually talking about antique desk, but it seems it is there for actually one modifier is missing. So these are called misplaced modifier. Okay, next. Enraged cow injures farmer with an axe.
Cannot be with an
Enraged
axe. Enraged
cow
cow
cannot be
injured
with an axe.
farmer with an axe. It can be with his horn
Enraged
or
cow injures farmer who was with an axe. So again, so this is how sometimes some modifiers are missing. There is a problem with the punctuation. Commas are there. Now here, enraged cow injures farmer. Which farmer? Who was with an axe. So just a slip of an adjective or adverb can make entire difference. I hope English teachers can understand better. So this is how sometimes some barriers to communication are there. Next. Language communication barriers. These are called language communication barriers, and this shows how pronunciation is important. Sometimes we say harsh words to somebody, and there the communication breaks. Sometimes we are not able to express ourselves. The lack of expression is there. We may have an idea, as I said, but we are not able to express. That is again a communication barrier. Now, coming on to the next slide, I'll show you something. Next. I was born in Australia. So this is a raised pitch. Please pay attention. I was born in Australia. It seems you were born somewhere else. I was born in Australia. I was born in Australia. Look at the way I am putting stress on a word. First sentence I stressed on I. Second sentence, you see, I was. It seems I am telling, how dare you imply that I was not. I was born in Australia. Third, I was born in Australia. Can you understand? I am a native of Australia, not a newcomer. I was born in Australia. That means in Australia, not outside Australia. I was born in Australia, not in New Zealand. So, dear all, can you understand how, you raise a pitch at a particular word and how the meaning of the entire sentence can change with that emphasis on a word? You start with I. It seems you want to stress that you are born somewhere else. I was born in Australia. If the stress is on was, it means, how dare you say I was not? If the stress is on born, that means I'm a native of Australia, not anywhere else. If it is, yes, voice modulation, it adds a lot of emphasis. If the stress is on in, that means not outside. And if I was born in Australia, that is not in New Zealand. I hope now everybody has understood what is inflection. That is a raised pitch and it adds emphasis to a word. So be careful before speaking a sentence, because you never know how that sentence will be interpreted by those who are listening to it. So these are another examples. Next. What kind of voice do you have? While communicating, please know, do you whisper or boom with the loud noise? Are you monotonous or you are melodious? Monotonous means boring. Or sometimes when you speak, wow, people enjoy. Is your voice like a rain cloud or a rainbow? It adds charm. It's musical. It's melodious. People love to hear that. Or it's just like thunderous like a cloud. Do you have mumblitis? What do you mean by that? Do you have mumblitis? How well do you articulate? You don't stutter. You don't stammer. You don't mumble. Whatever is there in your mind, you articulate it so well. You speak it so well that everybody understands. Do you trudge like a turtle? Sometimes you are slow, so slow in conveying what you wish to, that people says, what next? Please come up. Or you race like a rabbit. You're so fast that people have to tell you, please let me understand, be slow. Do you agitate? I mean, you're always anxious, in anxiety, in anger, or you orchestrate. Again, people love to hear you. So this is where you need to understand. Do you whisper? Are you melodious? Is your voice like a rainbow? You articulate so well. You are slow. You are fast speaker. Or you are always in anger. Or you are, people love to listen to you. There is a difference between listen and hearing.
Artima.
That also.
Excuse me, Artima, I'm
Next.
sorry to interrupt. Dear participants,
Please.
only 1 more minute is left for the meeting to end. So rejoin the meeting once again, because we have got a few more, I suppose nearly 9 more slides to do, wherein lots of knowledge is hidden in them. And then we have few announcements also, interesting announcements also. So do not forget to rejoin with the same link. Thank you. Yes, ma'am, you can continue.
Yes. So these are language barriers, and we need to understand the tone, the modulation, everything what is required to come up with. And if you take care of all these things, believe me, you know English or you don't know any other language, but you can communicate well. And yes, I can communicate well. If I'm not able to hear you,